according to Deuteronomy chapter 13, that is verse 1 to 3, you realize God was concerned about the people of Israel because it's as if God knows there always be counterfeit spirit trying to portray something that is almost, that has features, spiritual features that can easily deceive people. And that's why God said, now this is a prophet and a dreamer who brings a prophecy and a dream, and it is fulfilled. But God says, if this person cause you to serve other gods or to follow other gods away from Jehovah, God says, however effective or however appealing the dream or prophecy is, this person should not be listened to. And that's why we need to come with this into terms with the need at such an hour for discernment. People have become prosperous because they discerned. People landed or entered into right covenant of marriage because they discerned. People were able to be rescued from death and crisis, other crises, because somebody discerned. We were able to save our children from attacks because we could sense. Discernment is ability to see through, and identify the spirit or situation or maybe the kind of activity or gift that is going on, and we are able to determine the truth from lies, the unclean from clean, from deceivers to true people, from way of darkness to way of light. We are able to discern through, not only to identify, but to know what to do, how to apply ourselves. We see through, know, and take action. We see through, get the right direction, and we are safe. See through, identify what is supposed to be done, and we are through. And sometimes when it comes to the gift of discernment, you are able to know if a person is a liar, a false prophet, or a diviner, or right prophet. You are able to know if somebody appears to be good. What is the motive? Where is this person leading you to? You are able to see through where all people are unable to access. You can see through and see what is behind what is being done. Whatever I see. And one time, a powerful preacher was preparing to preach in a crusade and woke up at maybe now at 3 a.m. to pray. And as he prayed, there appeared before him a glittering, very glorious creature, which, according to human perception, you'd think is an angel, or maybe the Lord is appearing. But deep in his spirit, discernment started working. And he felt, although the person before me is so glorious, it's not clear, I don't perceive, I don't sense this is the presence of God. He could sense deep in his spirit, this not the presence of the God I serve. And he cried out to God and said, God, Jesus Christ, are you the one I'm seeing, or somebody else? A voice emerged from the opposite side, and it was a clear voice of God. And God said, I am not the one. It is Satan who has camouflaged himself, turned himself to be the angel of light, so that you can worship him. And then when you go to the crusade during the day, powers of darkness will take over and ultimately destroy you. And at the moment he discerned, that creature disappeared. One time I was in a crusade, I remember, in early 90s, in a place in Mumias, just near Mumias Sugar Factory in Kenya. And I remember it was raining in the evening, and there was this woman who stood direct towards in front of me. And I wondered, why is this woman not walking away and it's raining? And I thought, God, speak to me, show me who she is. And I tell you, the gift of discernment started working. I saw through. And I tell you, around her belly, I could see in the spirit a very strong demonic power that was using strong chains to tie around her womb, and said, and I by the power of Holy Ghost, I pointed at her stomach, at her womb, and said, "You demon!" And I called it by its function. That day, God did not give me the name of the demon, but God gave me the name of the function of the demon. I rebuked it, and the woman cried aloud. And of course, some demons, and majority, get out through the mouth. It struggled her. She could almost corrupt. And I went straight away and said, "Demon, get out." It got out. And the woman was released. And said, "Bishop, for the last 30 years, I never sleep at night. I spent nights groaning, crying, falling down, suffering. I've been at the great pain in my stomach." And whenever she could go to the hospital, no medicine will handle the pain. And therefore, I remember one time I was in a crusade, and I saw this woman who was pregnant. He appeared pregnant, heavily pregnant, high. And I thought, I said, no, young men should give her a place to sit or rest because of the condition of pregnancy. But God told me it's not pregnancy. And straight away I discerned and rebuked a demon. And something happened in her big whatever, what appeared like pregnancy. It reduced immediately to normal size. And one said, "Bishop, I've been this way for 3 years." I asked, "How did you get this kind of huge belly, whatever?" He said, "Instantly I was attacked, and I've been this way for 3 years." She was healed after discerning the spirit that was behind that attack. And that's very important. You remember in the Bible, one day Christ met that woman whose back was bent for 18 years. This time, Jesus did not say, "Be healed." He said, "You spirit of infirmity, get out. You have," and he said, "Woman, be loose. You have suffered for 18 years, be loose, be healed." And that's why loose means be set free. There was a time one of our bishops had 21 days prayer and fasting indoor in the house. And his daughter came to the bedroom and said, "Dad, I'm dying." And the father said, "Now, what's the problem?" "I have very severe back pain. Back pain." And maybe the father thought it's normal pain in young girls. He said, "No, go to your mom, take some painkillers, take some paracetamol." And the lady went, then came back, said, "Dad, now I'm dying." And the man said, "God, what is wrong with my daughter?" And father saw a funny creature with long, sharp nails penetrating at the nails were somehow able to hold her back, pulling the backbone out. And the father saw it's a demonic attack and said, "Satan, leave my daughter." And the demon removed that whatever. And Immediately then he said, Dad, now I'm healed. Do you know why we need discernment? Because majority of issues require that we know where God is and where the devil is. Sometimes you wake up in the morning, you realize that your husband is under attack. The way your husband is speaking, the way he is reacting, the way whatever you discern, my husband is not the real him. What he is saying is directly from the devil. What do? Instead of reacting, allow him to speak, but in the spirit, rebuke that satanic attack. Other times you wake up, you realize that devil is using your wife. I remember one time, there's this pastor who came to me as a bishop. The way things are now, I'm headed to divorce. I must separate. I would rather not preach, but not suffer in marriage. He said, no. I said, no, brother, I would like you to be still. No, the Bible says, be still and know. If you read when Moses was, when the people of Israel faced, before them was the Red Sea, behind them was the huge army, strong army, or Pharaoh's army. And people were frightened. They started complaining. There was a lot of noise, and they blamed Moses. But he said, you people, be still, and you will see. The same thing, God, I said to that brother, be still, my pastor, and please discern what is going on. Because I know your wife is saved, there's something wrong. And by that time, the church was experiencing unique, extraordinary revival. That within 2 months, the church had a 100 or almost 150% increase. When the pastor prayed, he discerned through and discovered it was the devil who was using his wife just to attack the pastor and eventually, ultimately, attack the church by destroying the heart, destroying the prayer pattern, destroying that motivation that the pastor needed. And when he discerned, do you know something? Immediately, the wife was restored, and no noise again, no attack again. And I want to say this, most people can save their family if you could discern and know who is serving God and who is not serving God. Why is that person saying that? What is happening in my son? What is happening? Because majority of our children are under demonic attack. But we are still in that mind as parents that you deal with your children and you may be disciplining them for deliverance or maybe for better, for them to change their habits. Even if you discipline a child who is under demonic influence, it's very hard for that child to be changed or to be better. Or maybe the child, or maybe your son and daughter will just change temporarily, or maybe will withdraw and be misused elsewhere. And that's why we need discernment when raising children, discernment in marriage, discernment when we are opening businesses, discernment when you are making sales, discernment when people appear to be good who are bad, and who later maybe will bring the fall of your business. Somebody comes. Remember one time at the age of this business, somebody came and made a very good, and he purchased a lot of goods from a company where a brother was, actually he's the proprietor, he's the owner of that company. First time, paid very well. Second time, paid very well. That time, the man paid all the money. Oh, and then the trust built. The fourth time, the person came and made an agreement, said to the brother, this time let me carry all goods that I want. A lot. You know me, you know I pay, and I'll pay, I'll bring money. He took virtually almost every good item from the hardware. I think it was a big hardware. And I tell you, the man disappeared with millions of shillings, and business failed. You need to be very careful. Discernment now is required. There are times God in heaven is planning something for you. And because you are not sensitive in the spirit, you don't have network with God. Do you know discernment also means having network with God? It's like the way you tune your TV or your radio, and it's able through some frequency to get access to a certain station, CNN, Al Jazeera, whatever, and you are able. The station is far from where you are, but you are tuned. Discernment is being tuned so that you can have a kind of spiritual frequency to discern and detect what is God's will. What is God saying? Because we normally say, may your will be done on earth just as it is in heaven. We need discernment. I say, if there's anything that Satan fears, is somebody who is powerful but also has ability to discern. One time I was called in to cast out a demon. There was this girl who was a deep Satanist and would change herself like to be like a satanic thing. I tell you, it was real deep Satanism. And the whole family ran away. He's a bishop. This girl changes to be like a snake. I sent one of our bishops and prayed and made a report. The bishop, I've been there. The girl is delivered and she is saved. Immediately after that, I called the family. They said to me, Bishop, the girl is even worse than before. I took up a taxi, a cab, drove all, it's about 20 kilometers from the place. I went there. Immediately, I started driving towards that place. The demon in that girl could see me and say, now, don't call that bishop. He's dangerous. But I went straight there. I went to the place, the room where the girl was. I commanded all people out, except the parent. And I told when the girl saw me, he said, Bishop, you're destroying me. I said, I've come to destroy the powers of darkness. And I prayed and the girl appeared to be delivered. I sensed, according to what the Bible says in Luke chapter 11, verse 21, that as somebody stronger than the devil should go after the devil, overcome the devil, and finally take from him, strip him all the weapons that he has depended on. Do you know, when that girl looked sober and saying that I am saved, I felt and I perceived through discernment the girl is still possessed. And I thought, God, show me, give me ability to discern, show me the weapons this girl is depending on. And the weapon were in her eyes. I pointed my 2 fingers to her eyes. And I addressed now, not the demon, but the weapons that the demon is depending on. That's a level of deliverance that Satan never thinks people can attain. And I tell you, that's the time that lady became violent. I've never seen such a case. She jumped to the roof, fell down, tried to run away, and I said, I destroy the weapons in your 2 eyes. And finally she said, Bishop, I'm now overcome. And he said, Bishop, we never thought there's any man in this world who would detect the secret weapons that I've been using in my eyes. He said, Bishop, I've used my eyes to kill pastors. I've used the weapons in my eyes to destroy praise teams. I've used my 2 eyes looking at vehicles, transport, buses, and I cause accident. And whenever I cause accident, we take all the blood as a sacrifice. He said, Bishop, I have been so free. I didn't know there's anybody who got to the level of discernment to know the weapons that I'm using. And I thought that girl was dangerous. Another one came to the office. And it was interesting. That lady can visit churches, can walk all over and do what she wants freely. But when I looked at her, I said, Bishop, you are destroying me. What was the weapon? It was in her phone. Her phone. Now, ministry is becoming complicated. He said to me, Bishop, in my phone, she had two weapons. One, it was in her body. There was something in her body. It would just approach you. I think it was engraved. It was in her skin. It was a satanic sign. She would just approach you, and you release powers of that kind of element. Another one was her phone. She took her phone to some satanic powers, and they inserted the line. Her work was to take photos and said to the powers of darkness, if a pastor is not strong, your ministry is controlled from there. And he said, Bishop, we control thousands of churches. They preach, but they never have impact. They plan, but they never make progress. They worship, but they end up. And that's why you see some churches. This is a worship team, but they are fornicators. This is a choir, but they are immoral. This is a pastor, but he has no impact. Churches where if pastor is not praying and fasting, sacrificing himself deeply for God, committed to righteousness like Joseph. You know, Joseph said, if you read Genesis 39, how can I do such an evil? When this beautiful woman, naked woman, rich woman, the wife of Potiphar, in a private place, requested, or maybe he was forcing Joseph to have sex with her. When nobody could see them, Joseph said, how can I do such an evil in the eyes of God? If pastors are not righteous to that level, the God said, Bishop, and I asked her, did you take my photo? He said, Bishop, I took your photo, but I was almost destroyed. The demon said, don't bring the photo of Bishop Gatimu. That man will destroy us. I said, God, help me to remain in prayer, in righteousness, and in covenant walk with you. Brothers and sisters, I want to tell you, bishops, we need to grow up. We need to rise to a level of discernment. Not only power, but discernment. We will continue next time. Please keep on. Keep on. I'll train you. I'll pray for you. And you are rising to be a strong, strong warrior. Not only full of power, but capacity to see through, identify, and reach the right attack and anointing or response. God bless you. God keep you.